Hello everyone! The song for today is gonna be Sentimental by Porcupine Tree. The idea behind this polyrhythm is quite interesting for many reasons. One of them is the fact that it takes more than a minute for it to reach any clear conclusion. So what I'll do is I'll take you through the thought process I had when I was listening to this song for the first time. We start off with the piano. As of now, this is the only musical element going on. So let's try finding a pattern. Rhythmically, the part is pretty simple and pretty constant. So I'll count the hits for each chord and see if I can find a pattern. Six five five six 555 656 555 656. Nah, it's too random of a cycle in my opinion. Plus, when the drums hit, it sounds even more disorienting. So, drums. The snare sounds constant, but it's very far from one another and I still can't find an easily detected time signature. So maybe vocals? Same here, they're too sparse for us to get any definitive answer.
Okay, after realizing that we're a minute or so into the song and I still haven't found any rhythmic structure or some pattern, nothing, I assume that there's some trick that I'm missing. There's probably some concept that I just didn't hear yet. In these cases, I'll just keep listening because I'm sure there's gonna be some resolving point where this riddle is gonna be solved.
So we're gonna just keep on listening. Let's check out the next part of the song. A few things happen that makes this section easier to analyze. First, the drums are playing a more constant groove. Second, the vocals are more repetitive, and therefore you can feel a steadier pulse. And last and most importantly, the piano is not playing that same disorienting rhythm anymore. Now it's pretty easy to find the time signature. First, you find a common pulse that works with all elements. Then you try to identify a reoccurring musical accent, and then you just count the distance between each one of those. Oh, alright, we can bring our beloved side note back and put all this information in. Subdivision will be next, so let's try some out and see what sounds good. This is our main pulse. Do eighth notes fit? Yep, sounds good to me. Triplets maybe? That feels horrible. How about 16 notes? Oh, this sounds great. Epic, so the subdivision is in the 8th note, 16 note realm. Now, what the hell happened in the intro? We need to find out if and how the initial piano rhythm relates to this new pulse. How do we do that? We just cross them one on top of the other.
So if we cross these two rhythms, it sounds like the piano is playing a sequence of dotted eighth notes against our original pulse. By the way, a dotted eighth note is just a very fancy name for 3 16 notes. It sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's write it down, shall we? I'm writing down 4 bars of 4/4 with all 16 notes in them, and I'm gonna circle the accented ones. Notice how this pattern resolves itself every 3 bars. And by resolves itself, I mean that every 3 bars, beat 1 of the time signature of the 4/4 and the beginning of the 3/16 cycle realign.
Usually, a group of 3 16 notes is not this disorienting. But that's where we need to look at the last element that comes into play, the harmony. So without further ado, me, Yogev Gabay, a drummer, I'm gonna discuss harmony.
What did you say?
Oh boy. Luckily enough, this is just a glorified 4-chord song. The chords we have here are A minor over E, F, D minor, and E. Now, according to the official singer-songwriter 4-chord manifesto, page 34, subsection C, paragraph 2,
besides never exceeding the 4-chord limit, one shall always play set chords for the exact same length, preferably 1 bar each.
signed by all top 40 songs throughout history. Well, it's in the manifesto, so 1 bar for each chord it is. So how does all this information lead us to the intro? Check this out. The classic way to play these chords would be to play them on beat 1 of every bar. But we already found the rhythmic pattern of the piano, so let's see how the rhythm and the harmony interact. The rules are pretty simple. If the bar has an accent on the downbeat, that's where the chord will change. If the bar doesn't have an accent on the downbeat, the chord will change on one of the hits either before it or after it. For the most part, they choose the hit after the downbeat, with one exception. Check this out. The first bar is easy, because the 1 is accented, so the first A minor over E starts here. The first hit on bar 2 is on the end of 1, so the new chord, F, is played here. In bar 3, the first hit happens a 16 note after beat 1, so the D minor happens here. Bar 4 is where the polyrhythm starts again. Remember, after 3 bars? So the last chord, the E, will change on beat 1, and we start the cycle all over again. Notice this means that the next cycle of chords is going to be off and won't start on a downbeat. So in order to make everything clear, here's a visual breakdown of the whole polyrhythmic section.
This polyrhythmic concept is quite interesting because one side of it is a rhythmic figure while the other side is harmony. The harmony is actually the only element for a while that supports our 4/4 because technically we have 1 chord per 1 bar of 4/4. But the rhythmic figure and the place where we switch chords is so not helping that 4/4 that it sounds almost completely independent. By the way, if you want to hear a quote-unquote regular 4/4 with these chords, just listen to the outro.